Texas Coastal Water Program, National Wildlife Federation, testifying usually.
Yes.
Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you. Thanks. Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon now or getting close to it. Chairman King and members of the committee, I'm Jennifer Walker, Deputy Director of the National Wildlife Federation's Texas Coast and Water Program. National Wildlife Federation is a proud partner of the Texas Living Waters Project, which is a coalition of organizations working together to advance sound water policy and planning to ensure the availability of fresh water for the people of Texas and the wildlife and habitats that constitute our natural heritage. To meet the state's water challenges head-on, we focus on equitable solutions that are innovative, resilient, and provide win-win solutions. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today about this interim charge. There's strong evidence that climate change will exacerbate severe droughts, storm surge intensity, and sea levels in Texas, putting our freshwater resources at significant risk. Whether it be flood, drought, water quality, water access, or water infrastructure reliability, it's safe to say that Texans are experiencing the brunt of climate change through water. In the last decade alone, Texans have weathered extreme events like the 2011 drought, Hurricane Harvey, Tropical Storm Imelda, Winter Storm Uri, and many others. In all of these events, the fragility of the water systems that we rely on were on full display, and Texans took note. But we are resilient people, and there's a lot of opportunity right in front of us to make significant headway in the years to come. With unprecedented amounts of money available and on the way from federal funds like the IIJA and hazard mitigation programs to state sources like SWIFT and the Flood Infrastructure Fund, the tools are in our toolbox. With that in mind, I'm going to focus my comments on two issues in the charge: flood mitigation infrastructure and cost-effective improvements that can enhance the state's available water supply. On flood mitigation, Texas has made strides in the recent years in prioritizing the need for enhanced flood protection in our communities. As directed by the legislature, the Texas Water Development Board, utilizing the Flood Infrastructure Fund, is providing needed resources to develop and implement important stormwater projects across the state. Regional flood planning groups are working hard to develop Texas's first flood plan. However, even with all this momentum, we have yet to take full advantage of the flood mitigation benefits that come with the protection of our natural systems and the development of nature-mimicking infrastructure projects. Instead, across the state, engineering concepts of the past and projects that have been sitting on the shelves for years are being pursued while the engineering field is evolving all around us and being showcased in major cities across the U.S. Just last year, the Army Corps of Engineers released its first international guidelines on natural and nature-based features for flood risk management. This is a noteworthy achievement at a global scale. Scott Spellman, the 55th Chief of Engineers and Commanding General of the Corps, remarked that in integrating human engineering with natural systems, the agency's effort with the new guide advances 21st century flood risk. The Corps' commitment to engineering with nature is certainly a sea change to take note of. Natural and nature-based solutions are the gifts that keep on giving. These features work 24/7 for communities and their surrounding environment, not just in times of crisis. Scaled efforts to mitigate inland flooding include greenways, land conservation, community gardens, low-impact design, and so on. These approaches are often faster, cheaper to implement, and have self-maintenance capabilities or low maintenance costs and can help shore up the built environment. On top of all of that, when done in a way that centers equity and involves communities and planning, this more natural type of flood infrastructure can improve air and water quality, provide recreation opportunities, and help connect communities with nature. Projects like these that deliver multiple benefits are good for Texas. In terms of funding, these projects tend to be eligible for more funding programs than gray infrastructure alone, further adding to their long-term sustainability. On the other side of the coin, water supply is a huge concern to us all. Texas is growing at an incredible pace. The appeal of Texas to out-of-state businesses and people hinges on a secure and reliable water supply. The good news is that many of the cost-effective solutions to secure our state's water supply are right in front of us. This week, the National Wildlife Federation is releasing a report that takes a deep dive into the issue of water loss in Texas. The study helps us understand the magnitude of the problem, compares the water that could be saved through reducing water loss to water needs identified in the state water plan, and identifies strategies to help lessen those costs. I provided each of you with a summary of our findings and recommendations for your reference. There's recommendations on the back. Overall, our analysis using 2019 and 2020 data indicates that Texas utilities are losing at least 572,000 acre-feet per year, primarily through leaky infrastructure, meaning that too much of the water that we treat and distribute to end users is not reaching its intended destination. Putting that amount of water, the amount of water that's being lost into context, it's more than the 2020 annual water needs identified in the 2022 State Water Plan of the cities of Austin, Fort Worth, El Paso, Laredo, and Lubbock combined. Just want to help you contextualize that large number, but it's the 2020 water needs of all those cities combined. Breaking that figure down to the household level, it means that each service connection in Texas loses an average of 51 gallons of water every day. These are staggering numbers to think about, but it's also true that a moderate and cost-effective amount of water loss mitigation could cut those losses in half and deliver more than double the amount of water that's proposed for the 2020 decade in the State Water Plan from new reservoirs. In other words, investing and repairing our existing water infrastructure should be the state's first priority when exploring ways to enhance Texas's available water supply. Reducing water loss is cost effective, especially when compared to various supply side water management strategies like seawater desalination and major new reservoirs. Investing in programs such as acoustic leak detection and repair, small and large meter replacements, advanced pressure management, and other projects can go a long way to shoring up Texas's available water supply. We compared our estimates of the amount of water that could be saved from mitigating water loss to the water supply needs identified in the 2022 State Water Plan, and we found that most regions could make big strides towards closing the water supply gap by achieving average or good water loss performance, meaning that the need for costly water supply projects could be delayed or even eliminated through investing in water loss mitigation instead. We include several recommendations to ensure that we have plans and programs in place to reduce water loss in Texas. The legislature, the Water Development Board, regional water planning groups, and utilities all have a role to play. And I'd also like to point out that we have an unprecedented opportunity with the IIJA, and that'll provide almost $3 billion to Texas over the next 5 years through their clean water and drinking water state revolving funds. Let's pull down these dollars and use them to shore up our infrastructure and to protect our future water supplies. And I want to thank this committee for all you do to protect the natural resources of Texas, and thank you for the opportunity to share our work with you today, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And there will be a full-length version of this report. This is the summary for you all for bite-sized piece, but we'll share the link with you all with that in the next couple days.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. And it's actually pretty profound, the numbers that you presented to us there. Right in with that testimony that Laredo gave us earlier.
Yes, absolutely.
Real segue there. Any questions? No, we appreciate you being here today.
Thanks a lot.